Good morning, folks. Welcome back to Markelly Farm. We are back on the homestead after our trip to Tennessee, and we got a wonderful surprise in the mail today. Stick around, we'll show you what it is. Now, a while back, I commented to my buddy Matt out in California that I was sad that I couldn't cure olives anymore because I really love olives. And look what he did. He sent me 2 boxes in the mail of beautiful green olives. And we're going to cure these things, and we'll show you how we do it. My very first video on this YouTube channel was an easier way to cure olives, but I didn't show the whole process. I just showed the buckets that we use to cure them that make things a whole lot easier. But in this video, we're going to go start to finish how to cure these olives yourself. If you have olives in your area and they're available, you can make some fantastic olives. Now, my Tia Maggie, which is Portuguese for aunt, my Aunt Maggie, she used to cure olives all the time, and I loved them. And she taught me how to do it probably 6-7 years ago. We used to cure like 15 gallons of olives every year when we lived out in California. So we're so happy to get these. So we're going to get started. First thing we've done, we've rinsed all our olives because out of the field they have a lot of dirt on them. Now, if you've never picked olives before, you want to pick your olives when they first start turning colors. You can see that some of these are starting to turn. These things will actually turn black. They kind of turn a dark purple first, but they'll soon turn black. But as soon as you start seeing color, you can pick all your olives. Now, a good tip when you're picking olives, go out the day before with a water hose and soak that whole tree down really well. What that's going to do is it's going to wash all the dirt out of the tree that's accumulated from all the dust over the growing year, and it will create a much better picking experience. Olives aren't real hard to pick. You can just strip them right off the tree. The hardest part is, picking the leaves out and everything, but the tree will be a lot cleaner if you go out the day before and hose that thing down really well. So pick all your olives, and then we're going to lay them out on a cookie sheet after we've rinsed them here, and we're going to look for obvious signs of blemishes and stuff like that. I'm a little concerned with these traveling such a far distance that there may have been some bruising going on, but this is still firm. It's not soft. So unless it's really bad like this one here, we'll probably throw out. But if it's just a couple little dings on here like this one here, we'll go ahead and keep this in the mix. But sort them out and then go through if there's any stems left on any of the olives. Like this one here still has the stem on it. Pull the stem off. And then we'll start putting them in our bucket. So after we go through them, we put them in our 5-gallon bucket here. Now this is the biggest tip of all right here. Go find you a bucket with the spigot on it. We got these at a restaurant supply store. We had 3 of these. And you can set them right next to your sink. If you've ever done olives, you know what a pain it is because you have to change the liquid in the mix all the time. And you're constantly having to strain these things out. So it's a lot easier putting it next to your sink. You can just flip that spigot open. All the liquid, most of it will run out of your bucket, and then just tip it over to get most of the rest out. And then we take the hose from the sink to refill and rinse our olives. Leave that open for a little bit. You can rinse your olives and then close that as you refill once you get into the rinsing process. But I can't stress enough how easy this makes it. A lot of people will do it in their bathtubs in buckets because you're handling these real heavy buckets full of water. So You could even set this bucket in your bathtub, and if you have a bathtub you don't use very often, because this takes about a week, and then you can just flip that open, let it run down the drain, and it's so much easier to do. Or a big utility sink you have in your garage or whatever. But I park it on my counter. It takes up space for about a week on my counter, and then I can just drain it right into my sink. And like I said, I can use the hose on my sink to refill the bucket. Now a bathtub spigot may come over the top, I'm not sure. But if I didn't have this bucket, I would probably take the lid here and drill a bunch of holes in it, because the lid snaps down pretty tight. That way I could just tip the bucket over and let it drain without having to pick up a lot of weight. So here's what we got out of that last cookie sheet full of olives. And then after I dump my olives off my cookie sheet, I rinse my cookie sheet off, because there'll be some grimy stuff on your cookie sheet that you don't want on your olives. And just keep taking a few handfuls of olives and put on your cookie sheet. As you're going through your olives, color is not your biggest factor. I mean, you don't worry about the start of the color, like the color changing like that. What you want to look for is, if you do have some color, check and see if there's like a soft spot. See, that one's got some soft spots. We don't want this olive. We're also taking away our little tiny olives here, getting those out, any leaves, any stems. Now if you miss a stem, say, let's see here, I think this one, see the little stem, that's not going to hurt you. I hate this vacuum. But if you miss a couple of those, not going to hurt nothing. Now going through your olives is kind of a tedious process. And it's good to have them on a cookie sheet so you can kind of roll them around a little bit. Leave some space so you can roll them around. And then I usually sit at a table, because it is such a long process, or sometimes I put my cookie sheet up here on my bucket so I can stand doing this and I'm not bending over. And then any little like stems or something I just throw down here into the sink, and I'll pick them up later. Now these olives are going to stay green, unlike the black olives that you buy in the store. Now people generally associate color with flavor, and I used to do that as well, because I didn't like the flavor of what I thought was a green olive. They always had a weird flavor. They were, I don't know if they were brined in something weird with different flavors or whatever, but I never cared for green olives. And then when I first tried my aunt's olives, I expected to have that weird flavor from the green olives. But no, they taste just like the black olives of my childhood that I remember. Being at Thanksgiving at Grandma's house, I would put an olive on every finger through the little hole that they push the pit out of, and then I would eat the olives off my finger when I was a kid. And I always loved olives. Now, I don't know if you've been having the same problem as I've had. Lately, when you buy olives at the store or go to a restaurant where they have olives in a dish, the olives have this weird flavor. I can't pick out what causes it. It has to be something to do with the brine, but I don't like them. It's got like a Kalamata olive would taste. I don't enjoy that at all. I like a nice, mild, kind of a salty, kind of brine tasting olive of my childhood. And you just can't find them anymore. But there is one brand at the store that I've found that tastes exactly like I remember. And like I said, I've gone through every brand at the store. They all have that weird flavor. Let me see if I have one in the cupboard. Unfortunately, I don't have one. I must have ate them all. But I'll show you a picture right now. So that's the brand. They're Lindsay olives. And they come from California. In fact, there is a town called Lindsay, California, where a lot of the olives are from. A lot of the Southern Valley in California, they grow a lot of olives. But now you're seeing lots of olives up in the northern part of the valley too, because people are pulling out like their almond orchards and they're putting in olive orchards, and they're getting into like the crafted olive oil market, to where they have like little boutique olive oils, kind of like the winery sprung up in California. Now you can go find these little shops that sell fresh olive oil. It's pretty cool. But those are the brands. There were several brands back in my childhood, O'Berty, Lindsay, all those out there. But they all tasted good back in the day, but not so much anymore. Now, I actually love olives on my pizza. One of my favorite pizzas is pepperoni, sausage, mushroom, and olive. That's my go-to pizza. But if you get those weird tasting olives on your pizza, it ruins the whole thing. So when I go to a new pizza establishment, I will ask, hey, can I get a little sample of your olives so I can taste them, because I'm particular about my olives. And they'll bring me a little sample. And 9 times out of 10, it's got that funky flavor. Now, last time I sorted olives, I think Mom and Ramona both helped me sort them. We did a lot more, so I needed the help. But I think I can find some pictures of that. It would be pretty cool. That was back in 2018 when we still lived in California. That was our last place we lived before we moved here. So let's start talking about curing these olives. There's several different ways you can cure olives. Well, 2 mainly. One is a natural cure in salt water. You would mix a solution of salt water in these olives and then put something to weight them down, stirring them once a day, and you would change that brine once a week. You'd rinse them out, put new stuff in. And it takes a month or more, usually more time, for your olives to be done. We're going to fast track our olives, which completely acceptable practice, been done for lots and lots of generations, and you might be surprised what we're going to use. Drain cleaner. Some of you are going to go, what? But it can't be just any drain cleaner. Go to your hardware store, in the drain cleaner section. Find that one that is 100% lye. Can't have any other ingredients. The reason why this stuff cleans drains, because it's a caustic substance. So you want to be careful when you're using this stuff. This is a crystal form lye. But again, make sure 100% lye. Don't use Drano or anything like that. So we need to make a mixture with this and some water to pour over our olives. Now let's talk about containers for your curing. Don't use any metal, even stainless steel. I wouldn't use that. Use plastic or glass, because the lye is going to interact with the metal. You don't want any weird metal stuff going on. And then mixing your solution, I like to use one of these. Now, of course, you can use any plastic container to mix your solution, but I like our Pampered Chef pitcher because, one, it's got your measurements over here. We're going to be using our gallon measurement. And then 2, it's got this mixer inside, so we're not having to have an open top container with a spoon, possibly slinging some of that solution around. Once it's mixed with a whole lot of water, it's not as caustic as it is with a little bit of water. So you could probably touch it without like crazy burns, but you don't want to be handling this solution with your hands for the most part. I'm going to use gloves. What I do is I put about half of the water that I need in here. I put in my lye solution. I don't want to start with a little bit of water because it'll heat up too quick, because once you add the water to the lye, it starts a chemical reaction, and I don't want it to heat up a lot. So we'll do half a gallon of water. We'll put our lye in here, and then we'll fill it up. I'll do it right in the sink, and then we'll put our lid on, and we'll mix it well till it's well mixed. Now, like I said, the mixture is going to heat up, but you don't want to pour the mixture over your olives while it's warm. You want your solution to cool down to no more than 70 degrees before you pour it over your olives. So we're going to be using 4 level tablespoons of the dry lye. Make sure your spoon is not wet when you're scooping out of the container. You want a completely dry spoon. And then do the 4 full tablespoons per gallon of water. And then keep mixing mixtures. I do a gallon at a time. A gallon comes pretty close to filling our 5-gallon bucket when it's full of olives. But we may need a little bit more. So if we need a little bit more, I'll mix like a mixture, which would only be 2 tablespoons of lye per half a gallon of water. Or if I only need about a quart, I can do 1 tablespoon per quart. But I can use this same picture. And we want to fill the container up until the mixture comes above to where the olives are. The olives will kind of be floating in the mixture once it's full. All right, that's well mixed. I don't see any loose lye left back in there. We'll give it a couple more mixes before we pour it in. Just a tad warm, barely even noticeable. So we'll let it sit for a minute, let it clear up, and then we'll put it in. Now, if you do get any of this stuff on your skin for some reason, the instructions say to rinse your skin for like 15 minutes under cool water. A quicker way to do it is to have some vinegar, any type of vinegar handy, and vinegar neutralizes the lye. So it's a lot quicker way than rinsing for like 15 minutes and you won't have a problem. Got our instant read thermometer in there. It almost came up to 80 degrees when we first mixed it, but we're down almost to 70. We're going to give it a few more minutes and then we'll be able to dump this in. Now, if the lye chemical just really scares you to death, don't be so scared. If you're careful, it's fine. It's no different than handling like gasoline when you're fueling your car. You don't want to get gasoline on your skin, but we've all got it at some point. You just got to clean it off. But it's not as dangerous as it sounds as long as you're careful. You know, wear eye protection. I have my glasses on, had some gloves on. Just be mindful of it. Now, before you put your lye solution in, it's a good idea to take a few good samples of olives. They don't have to be too large. I mean, don't waste all your large ones. But take 4 or 5 olives out of here. And then we'll use those for comparison when we're checking to see if the solution has entered the olive. So once you add the lye solution, it takes anywhere from 10 to 30 hours, depending on how green your olives are. And what you're waiting for is that solution to absorb into the olive all the way to the pit. And after about 10 hours, you need to start checking. Pull one of your larger olives out and slice it down along the pit. And you'll look at the color differentiation. It's going to turn into like a straw kind of color, like a yellow color, and the new olives are going to have kind of a white color on the inside, kind of a white or light green, very light. But I'll show you that once we start doing that so you can see the difference. So our solution has cooled down to 70 degrees, so we're going to pour it into the bucket. We're going to do it close to the sink. I'm going to keep the pitcher over the sink side of the bucket in case there's any drips. It'll go down into the sink. Give it one last quick stir. You can see the solution has turned clear. Everything is dissolved in it. You can see the solution coming up in the olive there. So we're going to go ahead and mix up a whole nother gallon of solution because we're about right there. Got our olives all filled up with brine here, our lye solution. Now you'll notice as it gets full, your olives will start to float up with the water. So we need to keep our olives down in the brine. They say to put like a towel on top and then kind of weight it down a little bit, but I don't want to put a towel in my lye solution there. So I learned a little trick back in the day when we were brining stuff. I've got a 2-gallon Ziploc bag. Lay that over the top like this, and then we take our faucet from the sink and we put water in the bag, and the weight of that water will hold the olives down. Just want to make sure you don't cause the liquid to come up over the side of the bucket. You can watch the level of the liquid as it comes up. About like that. So you don't even need to close the bag because the water level's down below. But you can see how it holds the olives down in the brine. Pretty cool. Now it says you need to stir these every 2 to 3 hours while you wait up to your 10-hour period. Obviously you want to start these in the morning so you're not going like late into the night. Now at bedtime, if you find that the lye hasn't penetrated deep enough into the olives, what you'll do is just open the spigot on that bucket or drain it out, however you're going to do it. Just let it go down the drain. It's drain cleaner. So if anything, it's just going to open your drain a little bit. But you want to take that lye solution off, refill with water, rinse it maybe one time, and let it sit with water overnight, and then redo your lye solution in the morning, and then check it every few hours until the solution has reached the pit, and then you're done. You can get this lye solution off, and then the rinsing process starts that we will go over with you, obviously, when that time comes. All right, we're 7 hours in. You can see the solution is starting to turn dark. We're giving us a stir here. Get him to roll around real good this time instead of just shaking the bucket. You'll find if they stay on the side or something too much, they'll get little dark spots on them. So a couple of the stirring deals, you want to give them a real good stir. But we're not going to check them yet. We'll check them at about 10 hours. All right, we're checking our olives. We checked them at 10 hours. They weren't quite done. We're at 14 hours now. This is one of the olives that we pulled out before we started. You can see what that looks like, just a regular green olive. And you can see here that the lye solution has reached the pit. So we are done. We can drain these out and start the rinsing process. You can see the olives in the bucket. We can open our spigot, start draining. All right, get it all drained out. We filled it back up with clean, cold water. And then we're going to give this stir again. And then once we stir it, we're going to open our spigot back up, let it drain again. We're going to do this twice. Give it a double rinse. All right, this is our second rinse. Give them a little stir. We'll open them up again. Yeah, the water's getting almost clear. That's what you're looking for. So as these drain, I'll dump a little bit of water through them as we've got this open, and then we'll just fill it back up. You saw that second rinse how there was just a little more soapy looking stuff on top. This just kind of gives it a little extra rinse off. Alright, we've cleaned our Ziploc bag off. Remember, this is a 2-gallon size bag, so it'll cover the whole bucket. And then we're putting our water back in it. And then just pull it up on the sides to get all the air that gets trapped underneath it. And then you got a good seal again on top of your olives. It holds your olives down into that water. Anytime they're exposed to air, they get dark. You can see this one was exposed to a little bit of air, so it gets dark on the outside. And that's actually the process to make the black olives. But you can see over here, this is the one that was not brined. You can see what happens to these that are exposed to air. They start turning dark. So we don't want that. So that's why we do this. All right, now that we've rinsed our olives twice, it's time to go night-night. We'll get back here in the morning and we'll give them another rinse. So we're going to continue to rinse these over the next 7 days, and I think we said before, it's going to be 4 times a day. So I go to bed late, so I usually rinse them around midnight, and then again at 6, and then again at noon, and then again at 6. So that's 4 times a day. If you skip one, not a big deal. Just get back on track. It's not going to hurt anything. So this video is getting kind of long, so once we've got these rinsed, then we come back and get ready to can these. It'll be in another video. So we're going to wrap this up for now. So till next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Hope you enjoyed the content today. See you next video. We'll finish these olives up.